What's up, Ragin Nation? My name is Alex. You're watching the Ragin Ronin review. In this video, I will be reviewing Snow White and the Huntsman. Snow White and the Huntsman is the live-action, more mature and action-packed retelling of the Disney animated classic. The Disney animated classic is a movie that I don't remember too much, except for the fact that it had Snow White, 7 dwarves, a poisonous apple which she eats and makes her fall asleep, given to her by the queen, and then a prince kisses her, and then I think she wakes up after that, and that's all I remember. So I'm going to review this movie without referring to the original, just because I don't remember it too much, and I'll give you an unbiased review. Anyways, this movie plays out like 2 movies. It feels like 2 movies in one, and the reason why is because you have the epic period knights in armor, swords, epic. Okay, it feels like a period movie. And then you have the fantasy movie. And the fantasy kicks in after the 2 main characters meet the 7 dwarves. Now that's when it gets interesting. And I'm not sure why I kind of lost my interest when I was watching the period aspect of the movie, where, you know, before they meet the 7 dwarves. But I just felt less engaged. And I think it's because I've seen a lot of movies like that. I've seen movies where it's these knights in armor with swords, and all they're doing is fighting a tyrant. And this happened in a lot of movies, like Braveheart, Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven. Maybe not Kingdom of Heaven, it's a totally different story. But we've seen, you know, these big swords, sword fighting epics, and that's what the other movie is. You know, you have the fantasy and you have this sword fighting epic, this period piece. And I think that's why I was less engaged in that aspect of the movie. The fantasy aspect, which happens in the middle of the movie, that would be in the Enchanted Forest, or rather the Dark Forest, I don't know what they call it. That part's interesting, just because it has, you know, you have like sorcery and magic and excuse me, and like monsters like trolls and unicorns. Well, not unicorns, but there was this deer with like these giant antlers. Like, that was really cool to me. It's a very, very visually pleasing aspect of the film, and I thought that was cool, but I wanted to see more of that. Like, they teased us with this troll fight scene, and I was thinking that I want to see more, because this is a bit of a teaser. It came near the beginning of the movie, but later on you don't get much of that in the rest of the movie. And if you take that troll scene out of the movie, it doesn't make a difference, because that scene was really pointless. Like, it was fun to watch, but it didn't add any value to the movie. Maybe it did show something about the character of Snow White, but really, if you take that scene out, it really doesn't do anything except add a little bit of excitement, but it doesn't do much for the story. It helps with the pacing, but it doesn't help with the story, the overall. So, like I said, I wanted to see more of the fantasy aspects of it. I felt that the story wasn't anything that was too exciting. The characters are... one character is interesting, and that would be the Queen. And that was all because of Charlize Theron's performance. And I have to say that... You know that why she was casted is because she's such a veteran actor, and she's so good at what she does. And because of that, she put on such a great performance as the Queen, and she was the most interesting character to watch. And whenever she's on screen, I was engaged, because that, you know, how she gets old and yet becomes young again, that's interesting to me. That is a very interesting aspect of the movie and of the story. Chris Hemsworth does a good job in the acting, but the character that he plays is not that interesting to me. It's not very unique. There's not a whole lot of layers to the character. It's not a character that has much development. Snow White, I thought that Kristen Stewart would do a bad job, just because, well, I despise Twilight. That's, you know, unfair of me, but I didn't think she would be that good. But actually, I actually didn't mind her playing Snow White, surprisingly. I really didn't want to see her playing Snow White, but she does a decent job. But like I said before, Charlize Theron is the character that carries the movie. Unfortunately, she's not in it that much. You see the movie is focused more on our protagonist and the 7 dwarves. And the 7 dwarves, all they really added to the movie was just a helping hand. I didn't think that that the dwarves really added that much to the story, but they are interesting characters. They added to the movie, but when you really think about what they've done with the story, other than help Snow White believe in herself, it's not a whole lot. and they did help out in the final battle a little bit, but really what they are is just comic relief, and maybe that's good enough. But this is just an okay movie to me. It's decent, but it wasn't that great. They're already working on a sequel right now. I mean, they're already have plans for a sequel because of the big box office that it's making. But like I said before, this isn't a movie that I'm going to recommend to you guys just because I feel that it's not a movie that you'll continue to talk about. It's definitely not an Avengers. Even Men in Black was more interesting than this movie. It had an aspect that was missing, and that is I didn't see enough like the supernatural and fantasy and sorcery aspect of the movie. Charlize Theron, great acting, great character, but the rest of it wasn't anything that stood out. Even Kristen Stewart as a knight with a sword fighting the queen, that scene was just completely underwhelming to me. It didn't feel like there was any excitement there, and that final battle scene wasn't anything that great, just because we've seen these kind of sequences before. Make it more interesting for us. You have the advantage of it being a fantasy movie. Well, make it a little more interesting. So that's all I have to say about this movie. I would give it a 6 out of 10. A 6 out of 10. It's got some things that I like, but not enough to really keep me that engaged. So 6 out of 10. My name is Alex Yu, and thanks for My name is Alex Yu, and thanks for watching the Ragin Ronin review. And by the way, I'm watching Prometheus in IMAX 3D tomorrow, so expect a review for that. It's going to be epic because this is one of my top 5 movies that I'm looking forward to this year, followed by The Dark Knight Rises and Django Unchained, directed by Quentin Tarantino, coming on December. So stay tuned for my Prometheus review. My name is Alex Yu, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Another problem, then you solve it. And you know, it's just the story develops like again and again and again, so that it keeps your attention. Now that's what